Welcome to Crossroad Connection. We're speaking out for those left unheard. My name is David Schuring. I'm the president of Crossroad Bible Institute and like to welcome you to the program. And I have a very special guest with me in the studio today. His name is Reverend C.J. Dundalk, a good friend of mine, former student of mine. Well, we have lots to talk about, but welcome, C.J.
Thank you, Dave. It's good to be here.
Yeah, it's just fantastic to have you here. I was a professor of yours back many, many years ago in seminary, and it's been a joy to watch your progress in the ministry and growing. You're still in the first church
Right.
that, 17 years ago?
22 years ago.
22 years ago
Yeah.
that you came to that church. I remember when you came to that church, it was small, it was struggling, wondering, I think, even to continue. And then you started preaching the word there. God brought some fantastic people to surround you, and you guys have a new building today, and God just has really showed his blessing. Not that it's about numbers,
Right.
but there are a lot of people flocking to your church to hear God's truth.
That's right. God has been very merciful, has been very kind to us. And over the years, we've been blessed to have all kinds of great people who love the Lord Jesus and want to use their lives to make sure that other people hear about him too.
Right.
Know the good news.
And part of your enthusiasm for ministry has actually involved Crossroad Bible Institute. Can you tell us about that and how that started?
Sure. Actually, going new into the ministry, any pastor has a heart for evangelism, and one of the concerns I had was, well, how do I equip members of the church to serve the Lord and to bring the good news of Christ to their family, friends, and neighborhood? And to be honest with you, wasn't really sure how to do that, and I was thankful because
This wasn't about prisoners at first, but about
No.
equipping your church members.
equipping the church members. And then in God's providence, Crossroads was just starting at that time, and I believe we were the very first church to actually have
Wow.
people, members, start to grade
Instructors.
lessons and become instructors and write their encouragement letters. And it was really helpful because some of the people are farmers and they really don't have time to, let's say, go out one-on-one on the streets of
Or take theology classes.
take theology classes. So they were able to do these on Sunday afternoons and so forth, and they knew they were discipling someone on the other end of that letter in a personal way, and they grew themselves in the knowledge of the word because they're digging into it and teaching others, and that's how it got started. And over the years, we've had several instructors and been very blessed to have Crossroad Bible Institute.
Yeah, you had a lot of instructors. Now, were you involved in prison ministry at all out in California?
I was.
Because I remember that's how I got into it, from students nagging me to go with them into the prison. Were you one of those students nagging me?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, you and Tim Spikestra got to
Tim
be,
Sykes
right?
was the guy who started it, and I had never been to a jail or prison in my life. And
We guys went down to
He said
Corcoran and stuff like
Corcoran,
that.
maximum
I was
security
just at
prison.
Corcoran about 6 months ago. You know,
Really? Wow.
that's a long ways from Escondido. But yeah, so that you were part of that gang,
Yep.
the prison gang.
Yep, that's right. And I just remember amazing experience going in there. The first guy I met in there was a Hispanic guy. And I was very afraid, and he didn't know it. He walked right up to me, and the first question I had going into a prison was, "Do you believe in sovereign grace?" And it just
He
settled
asked
right
you,
there.
or you asked him?
He asked me. Came right
Do
up
you
to me.
believe in
settled about,
sovereign grace?
"Do you believe in sovereign grace?" He said, "Come on over here. I'll show you where we meet."
If you were weak in that that area, that could have been trouble.
That's right. So
Yeah,
from then on,
and that is true. As a side note, in prison, they don't want a wimpy God.
That's right.
That just doesn't do them any good.
That's right.
So that's how you got your interest in prison ministry.
Yep.
Then you dragged a professor in there, and that's how I got my interest. And
Yeah.
both of our interests comes from the president of Crossroad of Westminster at that time, who would have been Bob Dundalk, who uncle,
Cousin.
third cousin, whatever.
Yeah,
Okay,
right.
but yeah, it's good blood.
That's right.
Okay, so now you have CBI people in your church, and you guys have been very, very encouraging. Plus, you use the CBI materials to disciple new Christians.
Yes.
Yet, don't you?
Absolutely. I found it to be some of the best material out there. When I was grading inmates myself as a pastor, I thought, well, why is this just for inmates?
Right.
We need it right here in the church. I need it.
It's
and I've been
great
using
stuff.
it ever since. The latest one now is 7 Secrets to Success. I don't know if that's all out, but I use that right now. I've got
Or
3
using
people.
that book, Seven Secrets
book,
of Success in
yeah.
the Workplace.
And,
Yes, yes, we're going to have that in a class lesson format very, very soon.
Well, be ready
Yeah.
because the first comments I get, first chapter, they go, I've never thought about work this way. Change your attitude is the first chapter about
I
you
know it.
working for the Lord. And it's like,
People are just amazed by that,
Yeah.
those insights that we grew up with, but
Right.
they don't have today.
exactly.
You have a number of instructors, and one of them passed away.
Correct.
Can you tell us that story?
Sure. In brief, there was a
This was someone also that you initially discipled with the Crossroad materials, correct?
Yep,
So this came full circle.
yeah,
Explain
full
it to
circle.
us.
Yep, there was a her name was Sandy, and she was in her 60s. Her husband died. She was very lonely. She had a sister who went to our church, and she said, "Hey, can I go to church with you?" And her sister said, "Well, sure." She came to church, sat under the preaching of the gospel, and the Holy Spirit worked through the Word and changed her heart. And she became a Christian, was discipled, and then just a real easy fit in is, "Hey, how would you like to continue to grow in your relation with the Lord by becoming an instructor to help others come to know the Lord?" And she agreed to do that.
Because you've seen that it helps the faith of the instructors, not only the faith of the prisoners.
Exactly. Whenever you're a teacher of the Word, you learn more than the people that you are instructing or the students. And she did that very with great zeal and joy. And 2
She
years after,
picked right up on it.
picked right up
And
on
then
it.
you know at the same time her faith is getting nurtured. It's
Exactly.
great.
And,
It's a great plan.
And then the Lord called her home. She passed away like 2 years after she became a Christian. In that short window of time, then her family members had her notebook from CBI, her instructor's manual, and even the last one was a man by the name of Anthony. She was in the process of writing an encouragement letter when she passed away.
When she died, she was halfway through writing the letter of
Yep.
encouragement to an instructor.
Yep. And she graded maybe over, maybe 20 or 30 students that she had seen through.
Spiritually
Yeah.
speaking, died with her boots on.
Yeah,
That's
right.
a moving story.
Yeah, a great way to go. To have a-
Appreciate you sharing that with us because people need to know what a blessing this is, and they can do it till the day that they meet Jesus, right?
Absolutely.
When you think about helping prisoners, have you done other things in your church? Don't people from your church actually go into the jails and stuff? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we do have a what we call a prison ministry, and we find the local jail, our Kent County Jail, and we volunteer to lead worship services in the Kent County Jail. And because I had a good preaching professor at Westminster Seminary, just really believe in helping laymen preach the gospel. And over the years now, we have almost every Sunday covered where we have volunteers.
These are
From the
people you
church.
have trained from your
Yep.
church that
Right.
are going in there and
Yep.
preaching. How
That's
cool
right.
is that?
Yeah, and some have gone into the ministry now, actually full time. And
Wow.
so, yeah, we are very active in bringing good news to even our local county jail.
What is it about the church that that prison ministry is good for the church, not just for the prisoners?
I think what's good about prison ministry is it helps us to be more authentic and honest Christian people. And one of the things we learn in the Heidelberg Catechism, for example, is there's 3 things you must know in order to enjoy the comfort of belonging to Christ, body and soul. The first one is you have to know how great your sin and misery is. And you're going to learn that all your life as a Christian. Then you'll learn, secondly, how you're delivered from this misery through faith in Jesus Christ. And then third, which you'll grow in simultaneously as well too, is how you thankfully serve the Lord all your life. I found that in the prison, they're often a lot farther ahead of us than in the church pew about being honest, how broken and miserable we
There's
really are.
nothing more to hide, huh?
Exactly. And so they're sitting in these jails, and they want it straight. They just want to tell you, hey, look, I know I'm miserable. I've messed up so many times. This is my 9th time in jail.
They
What
also
does he
won't
say?
let it by if a person's feeding you bologna, right?
Exactly.
They call a spade a spade.
So I find it to be very helpful for church people because they learn that, you know what, it's very healthy spiritually to be honest and straight in the sense of, you know what, I'm really poor in spirit. I don't have anything to give God. that's really satisfactory to God. I need Christ, and I need all of his righteousness and his holy life. And then they find the blessedness of being poor in spirit. They shall be comforted, those who mourn over their sins. And I find that prisoners seem to get that better than we do, for the most part.
That's kind of interesting because, okay, you go into the prisons or you become a Crossroad instructor at first to help the poor prisoners, but what you're describing here is that it's strengthening the faith of the Christians. So it's not like we're so far above them, is it? We're equal image bearers of God, and they have gifts, and they are actually serving the church with their gifts, aren't they?
Exactly right. And that's a good thing I'd like to add, too, is it's been so good for me to be involved in prison ministry, too, because I learned from them. And it's just the way God's Spirit works. We're not Christians all by ourselves. He puts us into his church, and his church is also in prison. There's believers there who love the Lord, who get it, who understand it, and who have things to teach us as well, too.
Thank you for joining us today on Crossroad Connection. My name's David Schuringa. We've been talking with Pastor C.J. Dendalk, who is just a great man of God, excited about Crossroad, and I hope an inspiration to you and to pastors if you're watching. And we hope to see you again here next week.